Caitlin Clark, the exceptional Iowa Hawkeyes basketball player, has shown to be a formidable opponent on the floor. Her incredible performances have captivated viewers, making her one of the most talked-about players in college basketball today. Clark's extraordinary scoring ability, leadership, and unmistakable brilliance have captivated both sports fans and pundits. However, she recently became the focus of a different type of attention, not because of her on-court exploits, but because of comments made about her by ESPN's Molly Qerim.
Clark over Horston, hits a three!
In a world where athletes are constantly scrutinized, Caitlin Clark's name came up in a heated debate that eventually led to ESPN's decision to terminate Molly Qerim. The episode has aroused significant controversy, with sports fans, commentators, and critics commenting on both Qerim's statements and Clark's meteoric ascent to fame. As we investigate this surprising turn of events, it is critical to consider Caitlin Clark's effect on women's basketball, the context of the statements that led to Qerim's firing, and the broader ramifications for sports journalism today.
I could actually argue that it hurts the game more if they had given her a roster spot over someone more deserving.
So go ahead and argue it.
That's exactly.
Before delving into the topic, it's important to understand who Caitlin Clark is and why she's become such an influential person in women's sports. Caitlin Clark's collegiate basketball career has been nothing short of spectacular. As a prominent Iowa Hawkeyes player, she has constantly provided awe-inspiring performances, often carrying her team on her back with amazing scoring ability, vision, and a dogged will to win.
But Cowan, who couldn't finish, behind the back again for Clark, give her another assist.
Clark, from Des Moines, Iowa, was already a household name in high school basketball, where she broke records and garnered national recognition. Her choice to remain home and play for Iowa signaled the start of a new era in women's collegiate basketball. Clark made it evident from the time she walked on the floor as a freshman that she was unique. Her ability to sink deep three-pointers, throw out precise assists, and lead her squad with toughness gained her respect around the league.
The turnover ratio in her career last season. Clark gets away with a little push, fall away, buries it. And a little reaction.
In only a few seasons, Clark went from a prospective recruit to a popular name, garnering comparisons to some of basketball's best players. She's been dubbed a once-in-a-generation talent, capable of transforming the game's landscape and propelling the popularity of women's sports to new heights. Fans have praised her court vision, flair for the theatrical, and ability to take over games, often in the clutch.
Clark working on Van Loo. Oh, Clark, pretty step back, hits a three! Got a little sip.
Her awards have continued to pile up, including All-American honors, scoring crowns, and national notoriety. Clark has been associated with success in women's college basketball, and her efforts have propelled Iowa far into tournaments, where she has frequently single-handedly led her team to victory. As Clark's popularity rose, so did the prominence of women's basketball, resulting in more media coverage and a larger fan base.
And now Clark comes up with a steal. Clark thought about pulling up from three, will tip inside and lay it in.
Caitlin Clark's notoriety in the sports world is no surprise, since she has been a regular subject of discussion on sports broadcasts, such as ESPN's First Take. However, things took a dramatic turn when Molly Qerim, one of the show's co-hosts, made remarks that sparked a firestorm of outrage. During a section analyzing Clark's most recent performance, Qerim allegedly made statements that many saw as disparaging and contemptuous of Clark's achievements. While the statements seem innocuous on the surface, the manner in which they were delivered sparked outrage among fans and critics alike. Qerim reportedly said that Clark's style of play was showy, but lacked the substance required to excel at the top level of competition.
I think it makes a mockery of the women's game. If the focus on, now we just have to have people because of marketing and their attention, and they're not as talented.
The crowd did not favorably receive the statements. Fans of Caitlin Clark turned to social media to vent their anger, accusing Qerim of disparaging Clark's accomplishments and downplaying her importance in the sport. What made the matter even more contentious was the timing. Clark had just given another outstanding performance, guiding her side to a huge win. Qerim's words in the aftermath further added to the fury. In today's hyper-connected world, when news and views move at breakneck speed, Qerim's remarks became viral, Social media sites such as Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok were inundated with comments condemning Qerim for what many saw as an unjustified and foolish assault on Clark. Hashtags like Jacques support Caitlin Clark and Fire Molly Qerim started trending, with fans urging ESPN to take action.
It wasn't that anybody didn't think he was going to be successful or not play. It was just that we felt that other players in the W deserve shine as well.
Prominent people in sports, including players, pundits, and analysts, have spoken out on the issue. Many people jumped to Caitlin Clark's defense, praising her remarkable accomplishments and the wonderful influence she has made on women's basketball. Others questioned the larger implications of Qerim's words, claiming that female athletes are often held to higher standards and get more criticism than their male colleagues. The anger was not restricted to basketball enthusiasts. Advocates for women's sports and gender equality interpreted Qerim's remarks as symptomatic of a broader problem, the systematic undervaluation of women's athletic achievements. They said that statements like Qerim's foster the perception that women's sports are somehow inferior to men's despite athletes like Caitlin Clark competing at unprecedented levels.
Molly, I said...
Really, Molly? Wow.
They jumped on us. They jumped on us, Molly. They jumped on us as a show.
As the outcry grew, it became evident that this wasn't merely a slip of judgment. Qerim's remarks touched a deeper chord, addressing problems of gender, media portrayal, and the continuous struggle for recognition in women's sports. ESPN is no stranger to controversy, and the network has had its fair share of public relations issues over the years. However, the backlash over Qerim's remarks regarding Caitlin Clark created a particularly difficult scenario for the sports media behemoth.
Team and spending time on the bench, what is the conversation going to be about the entire...
Initially, ESPN kept mute on the matter, maybe anticipating that the reaction would subside on its own. However, when the scandal escalated, the network was obliged to confront it publicly. In a short statement, ESPN recognized that the statements made on First Take had offended viewers and promised them that the problem was being taken seriously. Behind the scenes, it was evident that ESPN was facing a tough choice. On the one hand, Qerim was a well-known character on the network, having co-hosted the show First Take with Stephen A. Smith and Max Kellerman. Firing a prominent figure like Qerim would not be handled lightly. On the other side, the network came under increasing pressure from fans and supporters of women's sports to hold Qerim responsible for her comments.
Eyeballs, the interest, the sizzle, the headlines were not there. No one cared. The public didn't.
Finally, ESPN chose to cut ways with Molly Qerim. In a subsequent statement, the network reaffirmed its commitment to creating an open and respectful workplace for all athletes, including women. While the decision to terminate Qerim elicited varied responses, it highlighted the rising significance of responsibility in sports media, especially with the treatment of female athletes. The aftermath of Molly Qerim's termination has sparked a broader debate about media responsibility and the treatment of female athletes in the sports world. The episode demonstrates the power dynamics at work in sports media and raises serious concerns about how athletes, especially women, are depicted and discussed.
Excuse me?
You deserved it all.
Molly, can I speak to Andre?
Yeah.
Can I speak to Andre right now? Don't interrupt.
One of the most obvious concerns that this scandal has highlighted is the discrepancy in how male and female the media regard athletes. While male athletes are often complimented for their confidence, swagger, and aggressiveness on the court, female competitors, such as Caitlin Clark, are sometimes chastised for exhibiting similar characteristics. This double standard reflects strongly held social ideas regarding gender and competitiveness, and it continues to influence how women in sports are regarded and assessed.
Wheeler finds Clark from the logo.
Following Qerim's dismissal, many have called for a review of how media outlets cover women's sports. While female athletes have made considerable progress in terms of exposure and acknowledgement, situations like these serve as a reminder that more work is still to be done. The media has a significant influence on public views of athletes, and that power comes with the duty to deliver fair and courteous coverage. For Caitlin Clark, the event has further cemented her place as a pioneer in women's basketball. Despite the criticism, she has stayed focused on her game, consistently delivering outstanding results and inspiring the next generation of athletes. Her tenacity in the face of media criticism is a great example for young athletes worldwide, demonstrating that on the court, achievement speaks louder than words.
They're already at 10. Look at the tie last year's winning record.
Clark from way downtown and knocks it down.
The dispute involving Molly Qerim and Caitlin Clark is part of a larger discussion regarding the future of women's sports coverage. Women's sports are becoming more popular, and media sources must adjust to give more balanced coverage. This includes not just improving female athletes' exposure, but also ensuring that discussion and analysis of their performances are fair, impartial, and devoid of damaging preconceptions. The termination of Molly Qerim sends a strong message that rude or disparaging statements regarding female athletes will not be allowed. However, the problem going ahead is establishing a media climate in which female athletes are rewarded for their achievements without resorting to such extreme measures. In the middle of this media storm, Caitlin Clark has continued to do what she does best: play top basketball. Her rise from high school wonder to college superstar has been nothing short of incredible, and she shows no signs of slowing down. The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, has produced a slew of outstanding players throughout the years, but two stand out in recent memory: Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Their paths, although different, have often crossed, with each making substantial contributions to women's basketball and the sport's general development. Clark and Mitchell have captivated fans with their on-court talent, and the history they have created together represents the WNBA's developing environment.
Wins all of last season. They're already at 10. Looking to tie last year's winning record.
Clark from way downtown.
Caitlin Clark, a brilliant college basketball player, was making headlines even before she joined the WNBA. Her remarkable ascent has catapulted her into talks with the game's luminaries. Kelsey Mitchell, on the other side, has quickly established herself as one of the WNBA's top scorers after being drafted in 2018. These two players symbolize the league's present and future, and their journeys tell a unique story of grit, ability, and dedication.
Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41%.
In this video, we will examine the connected histories of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, including their upbringing, early careers, and how they influenced and continue to develop the WNBA. We will also examine their playing styles, achievements, and impact both on and off the court.
Clark off the switch, found Smith, who laid it.
Caitlin Clark, born in West Des Moines, Iowa, has swiftly established herself as one of the country's most promising basketball players. Clark has had an unusual ability to score from wherever on the floor since he was little. Her high school career was nothing short of remarkable, as she established multiple records and received numerous awards. She was a high school All-American, and her choice to join the University of Iowa benefited both her and the program. During her college career, Clark's name became associated with explosive playmaking, long-range shooting, and a ferocious competitive spirit. Her ability to command the floor and push her team to success was shown when she led the Iowa Hawkeyes to new heights in the NCAA tournament. Clark's unwavering pursuit of perfection, along with her basketball IQ, elevated her to the ranks of women's collegiate basketball's most prominent players.
As Bonner can't hit, Fagbenle the rebound. Here comes Clark, bouncing to Fagbenle, who lays it in.
Clark was already being compared to some of the finest players in the WNBA before going pro, and her ability to have a huge effect on the league was obvious. She was seen not just as a potential WNBA player, but also as someone whose unique skill set may transform the game. Kelsey Mitchell, born in Cincinnati, Ohio, had a somewhat different road to basketball greatness. Mitchell's basketball career started in high school, where she polished her abilities before attending Ohio State University. Mitchell became one of the most prolific scorers in NCAA history while at Ohio State, establishing records for both her shooting ability and on-court leadership. Her accomplishments earned her a berth in the 2018 WNBA draft, when she was taken second overall by the Indiana Fever.
Minnesota bouncing back on top. Kelsey Mitchell also heating up in the second half.
The high arcing from Kelsey Mitchell.
Mitchell's move to the WNBA was simple, and she rapidly established herself in the league. Her scoring talent, especially from beyond the arc, gave her a nightmare for opponents, and she emerged as one of the Indiana Fever's primary offensive weapons. Mitchell's skill has improved over the years, and she is now one of the league's most consistent scorers. While Clark was still making an impact in college, Mitchell had already established herself as one of the best players in the WNBA, demonstrating that her collegiate success could be translated to the professional level.
Steve 9, 5:13 left in regulation. Mitchell tries to answer with a long-range jumper of her own.
Caitlin Clark's game is typified by her ability to score from any position on the floor. She possesses long range, allowing her to make three-pointers from many feet beyond the arc, similar to NBA stars such as Stephen Curry and Damian Lillard. But Clark is much more than simply a shooter. She is a superb playmaker, often setting up her teammates for easy baskets with precision passing and excellent court vision.
Comes Caitlin. Get it!
Clark's basketball IQ stands out among many other players. She is a game student who consistently makes the correct judgments and is seldom shaken by high-stakes scenarios. Clark has shown to be one of the most versatile players in recent memory, whether she is creating space for a shot, driving to the basket, or providing an assist. Clark is also a formidable defensive player. She uses her length and quickness to block passing lanes, and her competitive drive keeps her focused on both ends of the floor. Her total flexibility makes her a player who can influence the game in a variety of ways, which is one of the reasons she was so successful in college and is anticipated to succeed in the WNBA. Kelsey Mitchell, on the other hand, is well known for her scoring skills. Throughout her collegiate and WNBA careers, she was one of the most dangerous offensive players in the league. Mitchell's fast release and ability to build her shot make her an ongoing danger to opposition defenses. Her three-point shooting is exceptional, and she can pull up from anywhere on the floor.
Have you seen how Caitlin Clark has been generating news across all sports media platforms recently? If you haven't seen him, you're missing out on one of the most entertaining basketball players of all time. Caitlin Clark has taken the sports world by storm, becoming a household name for skill, confidence, and game-changing performances. What began as a rising star in the collegiate basketball scene has swiftly evolved into a legend who is transforming the way we think about women's basketball, and she has now managed to humble ESPN journalists in a manner that no one expected.
Power block by Boston. Here comes Caitlin. Get it!
For years, ESPN and other sports publications have been chastised for underrepresenting women's sports, notably their coverage of the WNBA. However, Caitlin Clark has not only changed the narrative around women's basketball, but she has also pushed the media to sit up and pay notes in a manner they have never done before. With her on-court domination, fearless demeanor, and large fan following, she has embarrassed big media outlets, pushing them to see the grandeur of women's basketball that they previously disregarded. In doing so, she has propelled the WNBA to a level of notoriety that will permanently change the landscape.
And that's the way to push the ball in transition. Oh, that's not gonna waste much time. Caitlin Clark has...
Prior to Caitlin Clark's rise to popularity, the media, especially ESPN, mostly overlooked women's basketball. Their coverage of the WNBA was often scant and limited to off-peak hours, while in-depth analysis and big promotional efforts were mostly kept for men's sports. This neglect was especially evident when it came to players like Clark, whose extraordinary performances and numbers would have made headlines if they had occurred in the men's game. ESPN has an opportunity to get ahead of the curve by seeing Clark's potential early on. Her collegiate accomplishments were nothing short of spectacular, with her ability to score from any position on the floor, her passing range, and her basketball IQ garnering her comparisons to NBA great. However, the conventional sports media was reluctant to respond, often focusing on other issues and downplaying Clark's pioneering achievements.
Game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and viewership records, there seems to be some haterade in the league.
As Clark's impact expanded, it became clear that she was not receiving the press she deserved. Fans of the game started to wonder why one of the most entertaining players in basketball, male or female, was not getting the respect she plainly deserved. As a consequence, ESPN found itself playing catch-up, attempting to reclaim trust with basketball fans who had already made Caitlin Clark a household name. Caitlin Clark's ascent to popularity started long before the media welcomed her. She dominated college basketball, guiding her team to stunning feats that often left spectators and experts stunned. Clark became a highlight machine thanks to her 40-point performances, ability to shoot from deep, and remarkable talent for finding teammates with beautiful passes.
What's different about winning this a second time?
I think it's a little different. I think the biggest thing for myself is like this is my senior year. It's
her efforts in the NCAA women's basketball tournament were especially memorable, and it was during these high-stakes games that she fully established herself on a national scale. Clark led the Iowa Hawkeyes far into the tournament, putting up stat lines to match even the finest male athletes. Her aggressive approach to the game, pulling up for shots from far beyond the arc, facing multiple defenders, and producing clutch plays in crunch time, became the focus of the basketball world. Despite the media's slow response, fans were already deeply immersed in Clark's story. Social media became the forum for sharing, dissecting, and admiring her achievements. Videos of her performances went viral, with supporters praising her great skill while lamenting the lack of media attention she was getting.
NBA Player of the Week. Surprise, surprise. Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really.
It all came to a head when Caitlin Clark's name became too prominent to ignore. During her most recent season, Clark delivered a streak of memorable performances. She broke records, guided her team to spectacular triumphs, and secured her legacy as one of the sport's finest players. However, ESPN, which was reluctant to recognize her full significance, continued to understate her accomplishments in their reporting.
Notched the first triple-double ever by a WNBA rookie and the first in Fever franchise history.
This all changed when Clark's fans and the rest of the basketball community decided to take action. The disparity between her performances and the media's lackluster coverage reached a critical point. Fans flooded social media with footage of Clark's highlights, criticizing ESPN for neglecting to give her the recognition she deserved. It became evident that conventional media outlets were out of touch with the basketball community, and ESPN found itself on the losing end of the argument. ESPN's humiliation came when Clark produced a game so dominating that ignoring it became impossible. After another outstanding performance in a nationally broadcast game, ESPN had no option but to give Clark the recognition she had long deserved. However, it was too late. The basketball world was already beyond them, and ESPN's effort to catch up seemed forced and fake.
Can you believe that? It's hard to believe. Well, this is where we land to Chicago Sky down in 7th place, Indiana Fever.
Caitlin Clark's influence went beyond insulting the media. It also altered the course of the WNBA. Historically, the WNBA has failed to attract the same amount of media attention and fan enthusiasm as its male counterpart, the NBA. This lack of attention created a vicious cycle in which the league was unable to increase its fan base, and the media defended the lack of coverage by citing poor ratings. Clark's ascension has given the WNBA fresh vigor, not only because of her skill, but also because of how she has engaged fans. The media, obliged to recognize her brilliance, began to pay greater attention to the WNBA, and as a result, fans began to pay closer attention to the league as well. Clark's popularity grew, and more people tuned in to see her play, whether as a final-year college student or a prospective WNBA star.
It doesn't happen without them. It doesn't happen without the amazing coaches. And, to kind of end my career in this note and hopefully winning a national title would be perfect.
ESPN and other sites, seeing their error in underestimating Clark's power, started to enhance their WNBA coverage, focusing on the league's stars in ways they hadn't before. This change in focus is creating opportunities for other outstanding players in the WNBA, giving them the recognition they deserve and helping to expand the league. Caitlin Clark's presence has altered not just the media's perception of women's basketball, but also how other WNBA players are seen. Clark's leadership has had a knock-on effect, with media outlets now covering other league players more extensively. Players like Aja Wilson, Brianna Stewart, and Sabrina Ionescu are profiting from the increasing attention as the media recognizes the WNBA's potential as a major sports organization.
45 blocks last year, Clark for 3! Clark, they said she has redefined what a good shot is.
Clark's impact extends to the way the game is played. Her distinctive basketball style, fast-paced, long-range shooting, and high basketball IQ has inspired younger players who see her as a role model. Her confidence and talent on the court have redefined what it means to be a dominating player in women's basketball, and other players are beginning to mimic her approach. In doing so, she contributes to the evolution of the game and raises the standard of play across the league. Caitlin Clark's ascension generation occurs at a time when the WNBA is poised for expansion. The league's viewership has steadily increased in recent years, and Clark's effect is just speeding up that trend. As more people tune in to see her play, the league is gaining a new generation of fans who are optimistic about the future of women's basketball.
Honestly, I have no idea. I was just trying to get to the handshake line and shake hands and, be grateful that my team was in that position.
This increase in popularity also results in financial growth. With increased media and fan interest, the WNBA's sponsorship and broadcast contracts are growing more valuable. Brands who were previously reluctant to invest in women's basketball are now recognizing opportunities for expansion, which is helping to raise the league's image. Caitlin Clark's impact will continue to be an important part of the WNBA narrative as it grows. Her ability to captivate fans and command media attention is changing the league's perception, and her sustained success will further strengthen the WNBA's position in the mainstream sports world. Caitlin Clark hasn't simply embarrassed ESPN, she's revolutionized the game. Her ascent to prominence has caused the media to reconsider how it covers women's sports, and as a result, the WNBA has received unprecedented attention. Her impact not only helps the league expand, but also inspires the next generation of basketball players. Clark's impact will be recognized not just for her extraordinary skill, but also for shifting the debate around women's basketball. By demanding the credit she deserves, she has created opportunities for other players and helped propel the sport to new heights. Caitlin Clark's effect has contributed significantly to the WNBA's continued popularity. She has shown that women's basketball is just as interesting, competitive, and deserving of attention as any other sport, permanently altering the landscape of the WNBA. The league's future looks better than ever, and Caitlin Clark is leading the way. The WNBA has always been very competitive, with players putting their heart and soul into every game. But lately, the discussion surrounding the MVP award has reached a fever pitch. Aja Wilson, one of the WNBA's brightest talents, went off on what she sees as a tremendous injustice in the MVP race: Caitlin Clark's rejection of the prize title. What followed was nothing short of explosive, as Aja Wilson launched a rage, sending shockwaves across the WNBA and its fandom.
Kelsey Plum playing Caitlin Clark, no catch, meaning she's not trying to let her get it back.
In this video, we'll explore the events that occurred, including why Aja Wilson lost her cool and the drama surrounding Caitlin Clark's rejection. So brace up as we discuss what may be one of the most dramatic moments in WNBA history. To understand why Aja Wilson's response was so strong, we must first accept her role in the WNBA. Since being selected as the first overall choice by the Las Vegas Aces in 2018, Aja has been nothing short of exceptional. Her aggressive playing style, ability to dominate in the paint, and leadership characteristics have earned her a household name. Wilson, a two-time MVP and Olympic gold medalist, has constantly been in contention for the league's top honors. Wilson's intense competition and constant desire for achievement distinguish her as a great athlete. However, they also led to her angry response to Caitlin Clark's elimination from the MVP contest. Wilson's aggravation spilled out in a spectacular fashion as he understood the pressure and grandeur of winning the MVP award.
Indiana Fever rookie sensation, Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating Aja Wilson for the MVP.
Caitlin Clark, on the other hand, has been surging to the forefront of the WNBA discourse. Clark was drafted by the Indiana Fever and joined the league with lofty hopes, and she has not disappointed. Caitlin Clark, known for her exceptional shooting range, court awareness, and ability to score from nearly anywhere, has made a significant impact in her first season. Many fans and commentators anticipated her not only to win Rookie of the Year, but also to be a strong contender for MVP.
A little step-up action right here.
Boston gets it back to Clark, sidesteps Howard, she will launch and knock down a three.
Clark's ability to perform well under pressure distinguishes her from other athletes. Whether it's hitting three-pointers from beyond the arc or providing clutch assists, she's constantly shown she can carry her team through the most difficult games. Despite this, Caitlin Clark's outstanding accomplishments did not transfer into MVP accolades this season, which has prompted great criticism, particularly among players such as Aja Wilson.
The WNBA, she's just the fourth player to shoot at least 70% from three-point range on at least 20 three-point attempts.
The WNBA MVP award is one of the most coveted in the league. The award is given to the player regarded most important to their team's success, which is frequently determined by a mix of individual numbers, team performance, and on-court leadership. This year, however, the battle for MVP got acrimonious, with players, fans, and pundits all disputing who should win the title.
Caitlin Clark. It's nothing really to say other than that. She's winning Rookie of the Year. She's a top candidate for league MVP honors. She ain't beating Asia Wilson for the MVP, but she's beating Angel Reese for the Rookie of the Year. That's a wrap. That's over. And props to Angel Reese, who's had a good year, by the way. Quick hitter number 3 goes to Chicago Sky rookie forward Angel Reese.
Aja Wilson was once again in contention for MVP following another outstanding season. However, many believe that Caitlin Clark, despite being a rookie, had played at an MVP caliber level, making her a viable contender for the title.
And that's what the worst of cynics and critics do. And so you knew they were going to come for you. You had to know that. Now, to the degree that they're doing so, I get where you're coming from. I get where you're coming from. But keep your spirits up, because you're at a decisive advantage, Angel Reese. You're at a decisive advantage because they made the mistake of letting you know who they are, whoever those people are. And now you have perfect justification for keeping people at bay and not letting people too close where they could potentially hurt you. It's something most people usually learn when they get older. You learned it younger, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing.
The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, has produced a slew of outstanding players throughout the years, but 2 stand out in recent memory: Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Their paths, although different, have often crossed, with each making substantial contributions to women's basketball and the sport's general development. Clark and Mitchell have captivated fans with their on-court talent, and the history they have created together represents the WNBA's developing environment.
Wins all of last season. They're already at 10. Looking to tie last year's winning record.
Clark from way downtown.
Caitlin Clark, a brilliant college basketball player, was making headlines even before she joined the WNBA. Her remarkable ascent has catapulted her into talks with the game's luminaries. Kelsey Mitchell, on the other side, has quickly established herself as one of the WNBA's top scorers after being drafted in 2018. These 2 players symbolize the league's present and future, and their journeys tell a unique story of grit, ability, and dedication.
Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41%.
In this video, we will examine the connected histories of Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell, including their upbringing, early careers, and how they influenced and continue to develop the WNBA. We will also examine their playing styles, achievements, and impact both on and off the court.
Clark off the switch, found Smith, who laid it.
Caitlin Clark, born in West Des Moines, Iowa, has swiftly established herself as one of the country's most promising basketball players. Clark has had an unusual ability to score from wherever on the floor since he was little. Her high school career was nothing short of remarkable, as she established multiple records and received numerous awards. She was a high school All-American, and her choice to join the University of Iowa benefited both her and the program. During her college career, Clark's name became associated with explosive playmaking, long-range shooting, and a ferocious competitive spirit. Her ability to command the floor and push her team to success was shown when she led the Iowa Hawkeyes to new heights in the NCAA tournament. Clark's unwavering pursuit of perfection, along with her basketball IQ, elevated her to the ranks of women's collegiate basketball's most prominent players.
As Bonner can't hit, Fagbenle the rebound. Here comes Clark, bouncing to Fagbenle, who lays it in.
Clark was already being compared to some of the finest players in the WNBA before going pro, and her ability to have a huge effect on the league was obvious. She was seen not just as a potential WNBA player, but also as someone whose unique skill set may transform the game. Kelsey Mitchell, born in Cincinnati, Ohio, had a somewhat different road to basketball greatness. Mitchell's basketball career started in high school, where she polished her abilities before attending Ohio State University. Mitchell became one of the most prolific scorers in NCAA history while at Ohio State, establishing records for both her shooting ability and on-court leadership. Her accomplishments earned her a berth in the 2018 WNBA draft, when she was taken second overall by the Indiana Fever.
Minnesota bouncing back on top. Kelsey Mitchell also heating up in the second half.
The high arcing from Kelsey Mitchell.
Mitchell's move to the WNBA was simple, and she rapidly established herself in the league. Her scoring talent, especially from beyond the arc, gave her a nightmare for opponents, and she emerged as one of the Indiana Fever's primary offensive weapons. Mitchell's skill has improved over the years, and she is now one of the league's most consistent scorers. While Clark was still making an impact in college, Mitchell had already established herself as one of the best players in the WNBA, demonstrating that her collegiate success could be translated to the professional level.
Steve 9, 5:13 left in regulation. Mitchell tries to answer with a long-range jumper of her own.
Caitlin Clark's game is typified by her ability to score from any position on the floor. She possesses long range, allowing her to make three-pointers from many feet beyond the arc, similar to NBA stars such as Stephen Curry and Damian Lillard. But Clark is much more than simply a shooter. She is a superb playmaker, often setting up her teammates for easy baskets with precision passing and excellent court vision.
Caitlin.
Clark's basketball IQ stands out among many other players. She is a game student who consistently makes the correct judgments and is seldom shaken by high-stakes scenarios. Clark has shown to be one of the most versatile players in recent memory, whether she is creating space for a shot, driving to the basket, or providing an assist. Clark is also a formidable defensive player. She uses her length and quickness to block passing lanes, and her competitive drive keeps her focused on both ends of the floor. Her total flexibility makes her a player who can influence the game in a variety of ways, which is one of the reasons she was so successful in college and is anticipated to succeed in the WNBA. Kelsey Mitchell, on the other hand, is well known for her scoring skills. Throughout her collegiate and WNBA careers, she was one of the most dangerous offensive players in the league. Mitchell's fast release and ability to build her shot make her an ongoing danger to opposition defenses. Her three-point shooting is exceptional, and she can pull up from anywhere on the floor with ease.
Mitchell has not missed a shot yet. She's 3 for 3. Shot clock down to 5. Mitchell trying to create. Step back, that's a 3. She connects. Mitchell is...
But Mitchell is more than simply a shooter. She can also attack the basket and finish through contact, making her a dynamic scorer who can disrupt defenses in various ways. Her quickness and ball handling abilities enable her to beat opponents off the dribble, and she is adept at managing traffic to reach the basket. While Mitchell's greatest strength is her ability to score, she has also improved her playmaking skills with time. Early in her career, she was more concerned with her offense, but as she grew, she learned to include her teammates more, making her a complete player. Mitchell is aggressive on defense, utilizing her agility to keep ahead of her opponents and disrupt their attacking flow. Caitlin Clark's effect on the WNBA is much anticipated as she prepares to make her debut. Her academic success has already elevated her to an elite company, and many expect her to be a game changer on the professional level. The possibility of Clark competing against experienced WNBA talents like Kelsey Mitchell adds an interesting element to the league. Fans are excited to watch how Clark's unique skill set will transfer against the world's finest defenders, and how she will improve the performance of her future squad. Clark's debut in the WNBA is crucial not just for her own career, but also for the league as a whole. The exposure she received during her college years has helped to increase awareness of women's basketball, and her participation in the WNBA is anticipated to improve the league's appeal even more.
Realizes it. Clark trying to take her defender, pulls up and hits from the mid-range, 20 points.
While Clark's WNBA debut is greatly anticipated, Kelsey Mitchell's reputation in the league continues to grow. Mitchell is already 3 years into her professional career and has established herself as one of the WNBA's finest offensive players. Her steady scoring and leadership on the court have made her a vital member of the Indiana Fever, and she shows no signs of slowing down. Mitchell's impact in the WNBA extends beyond just scoring points. She has become a mentor to younger players, guiding the future generation of stars, such as Caitlin Clark, who will shortly join the league. Mitchell's expertise and leadership are critical to the development of the league's future stars, and she continues to set a standard for what it takes to achieve at the top level of female basketball.
So just trying to force the pace, pull up 3. Mitchell.
As Caitlin Clark joins the WNBA, she and Kelsey Mitchell will undoubtedly face off on the floor. These clashes are guaranteed to be exciting, as both players have great offensive abilities and a competitive intensity that motivates them to perform at their best. While Clark's approach is more focused on playmaking and adaptability, Mitchell's sheer scoring ability provides a unique challenge to any opponent. Clark and Mitchell's competition, although heated on the court, is likely to be characterized by mutual respect. Both athletes have overcome enormous challenges to reach the pinnacle of their respective sports, and they understand the commitment and hard work required to achieve at the professional level. This admiration will be visible in their confrontations as they push each other to new heights and elevate the WNBA's level of competitiveness.
WNBA in average game attendance and per game TV viewership. But despite the attendance and
Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell's participation in the WNBA ushers in a new era for women's basketball. As the league's popularity grows, athletes like Clark and Mitchell are at the vanguard of that transformation.
Their distinct skill sets, competitive spirit, and ability to interact with fans make them ideal ambassadors for the league's future.
And you know what that is? Kudos to her, because that means not only has she been putting in the work behind the scenes, but that means
The effect of these two athletes extends beyond their on-court performances. Both Clark and Mitchell have utilized their platforms to promote women's sports and encourage the next generation of female athletes. Their effect can be seen in the increased number of young girls who pick up a basketball and hope to one day play in the WNBA. Clark and Mitchell are creating history together, which is crucial in terms of representation. As the WNBA fights for more exposure and equality in the world of sports, the success of players like Clark and Mitchell contributes to the ongoing discussion about the value of women's sports and the need for increased funding and support. Looking forward, Caitlin Clark's future in the WNBA seems very promising.
rookie from the Indiana Fever who continues to be box office. Clark and the Fever currently lead the WNBA.
She has all of the tools necessary to become one of the league's brightest lights. There will be an adjustment period as she moves from college to professional basketball, but Clark's skill and work ethic indicate that she will adapt quickly and prosper in the WNBA. Clark's ability to motivate her colleagues and improve those around her will be critical to her long-term success. As her game improves, it's not difficult to envision her guiding her team to several playoff berths and maybe a title.
when you're at that position, the point guard position, and you're leading the charge, you have to figure things out. But all I was hearing...
Kelsey Mitchell sees the future as ongoing domination in the WNBA. Mitchell, who is now at the peak of her career, has already established herself as one of the league's top offensive players. As she continues to improve her game and take on additional leadership responsibilities, she will undoubtedly be a key figure in the WNBA for many years to come.
And offensively be more involved here.
Aaliyah Boston is one of the elite post players in this league. She needs to get touches down low in the...
Mitchell's ability to score at will, along with her developing playmaking abilities, make her a tough challenge for any opponent. As the league evolves, Mitchell will be at the forefront, paving the way for the next generation of WNBA players. Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell's past together demonstrates their talent, tenacity, and passion for the game of basketball. While their paths have been different, they have each had a significant effect on women's basketball, and their presence in the WNBA is helping to define the league's future.
And that's the way to push the ball in transition. Oh, that's not gonna waste much time. Caitlin Clark has...
As Clark starts her professional career and Mitchell builds on her already great reputation, the WNBA is in capable hands. These two athletes symbolize the pinnacle of women's basketball, and their contributions will be felt for years to come. Whether as opponents or teammates, Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell are creating history, and their careers are far from done.
Clark has space, she's gonna let it fly, and she's gonna connect!
Caitlin Clark is unstoppable in the WNBA right now, and it appears that no matter what occurs, she rises to the occasion. Clark's recent move has dramatically altered the league landscape, leaving fans, pundits, and even her detractors stunned. The same people who formerly mocked her or questioned her talents are now faced with the inescapable truth. Caitlin Clark is unstoppable. Every move she makes and every game she plays leaves the WNBA in awe, but her most recent accomplishment elevated it to a new level. It was more than just a game-changing performance. It was a cultural event, a seismic shift that had her critics scurrying for an explanation.
Listen, I believed in her from day one. You knew that she would only get better and better. She's averaging 17.8 points this season, 41%.
Caitlin Clark has been a superstar since her undergraduate days, captivating admirers with her tremendous range, precision playmaking, and unwavering confidence. Her supremacy on the basketball court began early, but what makes her path even more astounding is her ability to turn every doubt, struggle, and criticism into fuel for her never-ending desire to be the best. Clark's outstanding performance at the University of Iowa, where she led her team to multiple triumphs, demonstrated that she was destined for greatness. However, shifting to the WNBA brought its own set of expectations and challenges.
Red hot. They've been ice cold since that first quarter. Clark way outside. You bet!
The WNBA is populated by great athletes who have competed at the highest level for years. And for Clark, entering this environment meant demonstrating that she could not only hold her own, but also dominate. She dominated. Clark's transition to the WNBA went more smoothly than most rookies. She had an immediate impact, demonstrating that she was more than just a brilliant player. She was a game changer. However, as popularity grows, critics emerge, and Clark was no exception. Despite her apparent brilliance, Caitlin Clark has endured her fair share of criticism. Clark has come under severe criticism for a variety of reasons, including her confident demeanor on the court, her abrasive playing style, and the fact that she constantly performs at a level that others find difficult to match. Some have criticized her for being overly confident or bold, while others have questioned her capacity to continue her success over time. Clark, however, has always responded to criticism by allowing her game to speak for itself. Her ability to soar above the fray has been nothing short of astounding. While some athletes may crumble under the weight of continual media scrutiny and fan expectations, Clark appears to revel in it. Every unfavorable comment or doubt seems to inspire her to prove others wrong, which she has done throughout her WNBA career.
That's putting up some buckets.
It sure was. Top 4 scorers at the college level here in this one. As
Clark just did something that hushed her detractors while also sending shockwaves around the league. Clark set many records in a single game, delivering a masterpiece that left even her opponents in awe. It wasn't just the number of points she scored or how she dominated on both ends of the court. It was how she did it, with poise, confidence, and precision, that drew everyone's attention. Clark not only performed admirably in this game, but she also redefined what it meant to be a WNBA superstar. Her ability to dictate the pace of the game, make impossible shots appear easy, and involve her teammates at the right times exhibited a level of basketball intelligence that many had never seen before. Caitlin Clark was clearly playing to make a statement, not just to win.
Foul knows it's important not to pick up the second because she got 2 in the first quarter against Connecticut. Clark connects on a 3.
She made a statement. By the end of the game, Clark had broken multiple records, including the most points scored in a single game by a WNBA player. Fans were ecstatic, social media exploded, and sports analysts couldn't stop talking about her performance. While many people were celebrating Clark's historic night, there was one group that wasn't so happy: her critics.
Where all the people that Stephen A? Oh, she don't do this. She not gonna do that. Let her cook.
Let her.
Caitlin Clark's critics, or bullies, reacted quickly. However, rather than recognizing Clark's greatness, many of them doubled down on their critiques, accusing her of being overly flashy or condescending to her opponents. They said that her record-breaking performance was motivated by ego rather than skill. Some even argued that Clark's dominance was detrimental to the league, making the WNBA less competitive.
Diggins, Fake Smith, her last name, she bumped into her, sped up. Let her cook. But if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told...
These comments, of course, were unfounded. Clark's achievement was about more than just individual triumph. It was about pushing the limits of what is possible in sport. However, for some, watching a young, confident athlete like Clark succeed was too much to bear. Her success, in their eyes, represented a threat to the established system, and rather than celebrating her accomplishments, they chose to undermine her. Clark, as always, remained unmoved. She did not respond to the abuse or engage with her critics. Instead, she allowed her game to speak for itself. In doing so, she once again demonstrated why she is one of the league's most entertaining and brilliant players. Caitlin Clark's climb to popularity is more than simply a personal triumph. It can transform the WNBA as a whole. For years, the league has struggled with visibility and respect, frequently being overshadowed by its male counterpart, the National Basketball Association. However, with players like Clark creating headlines and attracting new fans, the WNBA is beginning to receive the recognition it deserves.
And stop other teams from scoring.
Well, last year Indiana was 10th in pace. Christy Sides telling us Clark rattles her second three.
Clark's triumph has energized the league. Fans eagerly await her next move, and her performances frequently make national headlines. In some ways, Clark is helping to break the mold of what fans anticipate from the WNBA. She demonstrates that women's basketball can be as thrilling, competitive, and entertaining as men's basketball, and sometimes even more so. But Clark's impact extends beyond the games. She has also established herself as a role model for young athletes, particularly young females who aspire to play professional basketball. Clark is pushing the next generation of players to chase their aspirations and push the limits of what is possible in the sport by demonstrating that it is possible to excel in the WNBA while doing so stylishly. Clark's influence extends beyond the court. Off the court, her influence is just as strong. Clark has become a cultural icon, heralding a new age in women's basketball that values confidence, talent, and personality. Clark's unabashed attitude has struck a chord with both fans and sportsmen in a sport where players are frequently supposed to be meek and reserved.
League in assists her last 5 games, Shannon. 22.5 points per game on 46% shooting, 11.4 assists per game.
Her social media following has skyrocketed, with millions of people tuning in to see her most recent postings, interviews, and highlights. She's more than simply a basketball player. She's a brand, and her appeal goes far beyond the sport. Major brands are lined up to collaborate with her, recognizing that Clark symbolizes the future of women's sports, and that her influence will only expand in the coming years. Clark's most major cultural impact, however, has been her ability to change the narrative about women's basketball. For far too long, the WNBA has been ridiculed or overlooked, with many sports fans viewing it as a subpar imitation of the NBA. However, Clark's performances, together with the ascent of other brilliant players, are helping to shift that narrative. Caitlin Clark is leading the effort as more people realize the WNBA is full of great athletes capable of playing at an extremely high level.
5, and now the Indiana Fever are 7th.
Lynn Dunn, the famous general manager of the Indiana Fever, has had enough. She is a seasoned veteran of the game who has seen both the highs and lows of professional basketball. But what she's seeing today has pushed her to the edge, leading her to speak out with genuine conviction. What triggered the event? None other than the unrelenting and some say deadly roughness that Caitlin Clark has faced on the court. This isn't just another day in the WNBA. It's a crisis in the making, and Dunn is prepared to act.
Amazing. It's amazing. I cannot believe that many people are here just for the draft party. It's such an exciting moment. We're thrilled to select with the first pick Caitlin Clark.
But what's really going on here? Is this simply another chapter in the WNBA's illustrious history? Or is something more important emerging before our eyes? Let's go into the facts, unpack the difficulties, and find out why Lynn Dunn, one of the most respected personalities in women's basketball, is suddenly demanding quick action. Lynn Dunn's interest extends beyond basketball to the fundamental fabric of the game. Dunn's perspective is unique as the Indiana Fever's general manager. She's seen the league's evolution throughout the years, including the growth of players, the intensity of rivalries, and the rising fan base. But what she sees today is different, and it troubles her terribly.
You're changing it, you're helping us change it, so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much, and I just feel really grateful to be here.
Dunn is especially concerned with Caitlin Clark's supporters' conduct and the more violent techniques employed against her on the court. It's one thing to play rough. Basketball, after all, is a contact sport. But when does toughness become dangerous? That is the question Dunn is asking, and it has sparked a passionate discussion within the WNBA community. Caitlin Clark, with her evident skill and compelling charisma, has emerged as the league's lightning rod. Her supporters are fervent, her opponents are tenacious, and the result is a level of ferocity that is making headlines throughout the sport. Dunn is frustrated not just with the physical play, but also with how the game is developing, or maybe devolving, in reaction to the demands that come with Clark's ascension. Caitlin Clark's influence in the WNBA cannot be emphasized enough. She's more than simply another player, she's a sensation. Clark is creating waves on the floor, turning heads, and pushing opponents to reconsider their strategy. He averages 16.3 points, 6 assists, and 4.9 rebounds per game, but what's occurring off the field is absolutely astounding. Clark's presence has directly contributed to an increase in WNBA attendance and fan engagement. In Los Angeles, 19,033 people have come to witness her performance. In Washington, the attendance was even higher. 20,333 people packed the arena to see Caitlin Clark perform. These metrics are more than just numbers. They reflect the WNBA's burgeoning popularity, which is propelled in large part by Clark's spectacular performances.
I'm very grateful starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now...
However, all of this prosperity has brought along a new set of obstacles. As Clark continues to dominate, she becomes a target. The brutality aimed against her is rising, and it's more than simply difficult defense. It's about survival. Opponents are pushing the envelope, testing the limits, and in some instances, crossing the line. That's where the real issue is. The WNBA has always distinguished itself by its physicality. However, there is a distinction between playing hard and dirty, and that line is getting more blurred. Caitlin Clark is at the heart of this argument, since she encounters physical obstacles on the court that some feel exceed what is appropriate in competitive play.
Seattle, and all of a sudden, we're pretty close. This has been as close as it's been all second quarter long, 44.
Remember when Clark was hip-checked by Kennedy Carter, or when she clashed with Angel Reese? These aren't isolated events. They're part of a wider trend that's forming throughout the league. Clark has spoken out about the treatment she is undergoing, stating, "I feel like I'm getting hammered." For a player of her level to raise such worries is significant. It indicates that something has to change. The roughness thrown toward Clark is more than simply strong defense. It's about delivering a message, but what's the message? Is Clark too good, oppressive, or threatening? Or is it something more sinister, referring to larger flaws inside the league? These are the questions posed by fans, players, coaches, and experts alike.
Caitlin Clark.
As the physicality goes up, so too does the discussion. Where do we distinguish between competitive play and harmful behavior? What constitutes appropriate on-court behavior, and when does it become excessive? These are the problems that are now front of mind in the WNBA, and Lynn Dunn is determined to solve them. Caitlin Clark's handling of the court has elicited different reactions. On one side, some supporters are upset, believing that Clark is being unjustly targeted and that the brutality she is experiencing is not simply part of the game, but a purposeful effort to bring her down. These supporters are loud, passionate, and demanding change.
An accidental collision with Caitlin Clark. You see it right there. Personnel crowds around her. She ended up being okay. She said she was fine. She just got the wind knocked out of her a little bit.
On the other hand, others contend that this is just basketball. It's a rigorous sport, and if you want to be the greatest, you must be able to manage the physical demands. For some followers, Clark's situation is merely part of the game, a necessary hurdle that she must face if she wants to compete at the greatest level. But it's not only the fans who are split. The league itself is debating how to react. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert recognized the problem, saying, "I believe everyone is watching Caitlin, so their emphasis is solely on Caitlin. But when compared to other games with additional players, it is a physical game." Engelbert's remarks underline the bigger context. The WNBA is a rough league, and Caitlin Clark isn't the only one dealing with these issues.
Yeah, I mean, her first month in W, obviously, aside from the numbers, the viewership, the attendance, the way that she plays the game, you know, she's ultra competitive. Her ability to really stretch the floor and find her teammates. Obviously, there is a learning curve. And
however, Engelbert's words pose serious considerations. Is Clark's physicality merely a facet of the game, or is there more to it? Is the league doing enough to safeguard its players, particularly its superstars? What message is being sent to the next generation of players and fans? These are the concerns that are rising to the forefront as the discussion around Caitlin Clark and the physicality of the WNBA heats up. So what precisely does Lynn Dunn propose? Dunn's strong words make it plain that she is unwilling to sit back and watch while the game she loves is imperiled. She is asking for quick action, urging the league to intervene and address the problem of physicality before it is too late.
About 20 seconds. maybe 15.
Why that long?
I don't know. They made me pause. The league. You got to follow the directions.
Dunn isn't just speaking out, she's taking action. She allegedly submitted game videos to the league headquarters, underlining the risky play that she feels is endangering players like Caitlin Clark. Dunn's commitment is palpable. She's not just talking the talk, she's living the walk, leading by example for everyone participating in the game. But what fueled Lynn Dunn's ardent determination? Why is she so adamant about cleaning up the game, safeguarding the athletes, and maintaining the WNBA's integrity? The answer is rooted in her profound passion for the game, dedication to the league, and conviction that basketball can and should be better. Dunn's call to action applies to the whole league, not just one player or club. She's making a strong message about the significance of safeguarding star players, establishing a high standard for the whole WNBA, and keeping the game fair and safe for everyone on the field.
One of our biggest wins of the season so far was our first win at Phoenix. I think that really kind of boosted us into how we're playing basketball right now.
As the WNBA expands and evolves, physicality will remain a major concern. The league is at a crossroads, and the choices made over the next several months and years will significantly influence its future. If the league can find a way to combine toughness and safety, protecting its players while maintaining the game's purity, it has the potential to reach new heights. The WNBA has the potential to serve as a model for other sports leagues, demonstrating that it is feasible to play intense competitive basketball without jeopardizing player safety.
Left to go. How important was it for this group to come out after the break and get the win?
Yeah, it's huge. I think it sets the tone of where we want to be the rest of the season. So to grind this one out and get it done, I think is just a step in the right direction. But it's one at a time, and we have another big one Sunday.
However, if the league fails to handle the problem, the ramifications might be severe. Players might continue to get injured, the game's quality could deteriorate, and spectators could lose faith. The WNBA risks losing its momentum and its status as one of the most entertaining and dynamic sports leagues in the world. The WNBA's future is in the balance, and choices taken now will define the league for years to come. It is a watershed moment in the league's history, and players, fans, and the media will all be paying careful attention. To summarize, Lynn Dunn's call to action is about more than simply Caitlin Clark. It is about the future of the WNBA. The league is at a watershed moment as it deals with the problem of physicality and its influence on the game.
Yeah, I think just when I can get going early, that's when I really settle into the game and feel comfortable. And I think my third quarter wasn't great, but yeah, I think there's times where we would have crumbled, but we just kept battling and fighting, and I thought it was a really good win for us.
Dunn's drive to safeguard the players, maintain the league's integrity, and guarantee that the WNBA stays fair and safe reflects her passion for the sport. She is not just speaking out, she is also acting, setting an example for everyone participating in the game. The fight about Caitlin Clark and the WNBA has not ended, and it will continue to define the league's future. However, one thing is certain, the WNBA is a league worth fighting for, and it can achieve unprecedented heights.
Outside these 12, but know that Caitlin is going to have a bright future with USA Basketball, and I think, the points that she made, she's even more motivated, more hungry, and just knowing that her time is going to come.
As fans, players, and the media continue to weigh in on this topic, the WNBA's future will be molded by the choices made today. It is a watershed event in the league's history, with long-term implications for the game. So where are we going from here? The solution is up to the league, the players, and the fans. It is up to all of us to keep the WNBA a league we can be proud of, one that is tough, competitive, and fair. And with leaders like Lynn Dunn at the forefront, there's little question the WNBA is in capable hands.
The world of basketball is no stranger to intense rivalries and passionate emotions. Still, when a rising star like Caitlin Clark, known for her sharpshooting and record-breaking performances, is named to the All-WNBA First Team and crowned Rookie of the Year, it can shake up the entire landscape of the sport. Chennedy Carter, a young WNBA player known for her fiery personality and competitive edge, made headlines for all the wrong reasons when she reacted in a rather explosive manner to Clark's achievements. This article will dive deep into the background of both players, the significance of the accolades, and the fallout from Carter's tantrum.
By the way, speaking of basketball, Caitlin Clark now has the rookie record, the history of the WNBA.
Caitlin Clark's journey from a standout high school player to one of the most talked about rookies in WNBA history has been nothing short of spectacular. Born in Des Moines, Iowa, Clark has been breaking records and turning heads from an early age. Known for her incredible shooting range, vision on the court, and ability to control the pace of the game, she quickly became a top recruit for the University of Iowa.
Clark working on Van Loo. Oh, Clark, pretty step back, hits a three!
At Iowa, Clark's performances were consistently remarkable. During her college career, she racked up accolades such as the Nancy Lieberman Award for the nation's best point guard and multiple All-American honors. She was lauded not only for her scoring ability, but also for her leadership and basketball IQ, often leading her team to victory with her clutch performances.
Lineup I'm talking about with Katie Lou Samuelson at the 4.
Clark.
Upon entering the WNBA, Caitlin Clark was immediately on the radar as a potential Rookie of the Year candidate. Her game translated seamlessly to the professional level, where she continued to amaze with her offensive prowess. Clark's ability to shoot from deep, combined with her playmaking and fearlessness on the court, made her an instant star. Her rookie season saw her setting records, making her a strong contender for Rookie of the Year, a prediction that many pundits and fans alike shared.
Clark gets away with a little push, fall away, buries it. And a little reaction.
On the other side of the story is Kennedy Carter, a player who had a promising rise in the WNBA. Carter, drafted 4th overall by the Atlanta Dream in 2020, quickly established herself as a dynamic scorer and playmaker. Her aggressive style of play and confidence in taking big shots earned her respect within the league. She was a standout player in college at Texas A&M, where she was known for her clutch performances and was a 3-time All-American.
Great job of coming up with that loose ball and converting. 6 seconds to go, opening quarter. Kennedy Carter, crossover to the rim.
However, Carter's time in the WNBA has been marked by both brilliance and controversy. While her talent is undeniable, she has also faced criticism for her attitude on and off the court. There have been reports of clashes with teammates and coaching staff, which have sometimes overshadowed her performances. Her competitive nature, while a strength on the court, has also led to some difficult situations, particularly when things don't go her way.
You a little bit?
Yeah.
After
I ain't answering no Caitlin Clark questions.
Did she say anything to you?
I don't know what she said.
What'd you say to her?
I didn't say anything.
That's enough. We're good.
Carter, like many in the league, likely saw herself as a contender for Rookie of the Year when she entered the WNBA. With her impressive resume, it's easy to understand why she might have felt entitled to such recognition. However, when Caitlin Clark began dominating headlines and ultimately took home the award, Carter's reaction was far from gracious.
Here at Wintrust. Leads back up to double figures. How about Carter? Leaving everyone in her dust.
The WNBA Rookie of the Year award is one of the most prestigious honors a young player can earn. It signifies not only individual success, but also a promising future in the league. Caitlin Clark's selection for this award, along with being named to the All-WNBA first team, was a testament to her impact in her first season. Her shooting, court vision, and leadership were all factors in her earning these honors.
You're seeing Caitlin Clark. And for everybody who talked about, she's just a shooter, she's already set the all-time rookie.
The announcement of Clark's accolades was met with widespread approval from fans, coaches, and players alike. Her stats backed up the decision. She averaged over 20 points per game and had several standout performances, including game-winning shots and record-setting moments. Clark was not just a scorer, but a leader on the floor, making her an obvious choice for these accolades. While most players in the WNBA were quick to congratulate Caitlin Clark for her achievements, Kennedy Carter's response was quite the opposite. As the news broke, Carter took to social media, posting cryptic messages and expressing clear frustration. It didn't take long for fans and analysts to realize that her posts were directed at Clark's accolades.
After this controversial foul on Caitlin Clark.
Unnecessary.
Clark's Indiana Fever taking on the Chicago Sky on Saturday. The Sky's Kennedy Carter hitting a shot, then heading over to Clark and shoulder checking her. The refs called it a common foul, but the league yesterday upgraded the call to a flagrant foul.
Carter's tantrum wasn't just confined to social media, though. According to reports from inside the locker room, Carter expressed her anger to teammates and coaches, questioning why she wasn't the one being recognized. Her competitive nature, which had served her well on the court, seemed to boil over into a display of entitlement and frustration, This outburst reportedly created tension within her team, and some players were said to have been uncomfortable with the way Carter handled the situation. In the age of social media, Carter's reaction quickly went viral, with fans weighing in on both sides. Some sympathized with Carter, understanding her frustration as a young player trying to establish herself in a competitive league. Others, however, criticized her for not showing sportsmanship and for failing to celebrate another player's success.
Between the last game and today is our growth. We went to film today, we locked in, we seen the good things we did, we also seen the mistakes we made, and we're just trying to grow.
Carter's outburst did not go unnoticed by the WNBA or by the basketball community at large. Many fans and analysts criticized her behavior, calling it unprofessional and unsportsmanlike. While it's common for athletes to feel disappointed when they miss out on awards or recognition, Carter's public display of frustration was seen as crossing a line. On social media, fans debated the situation. Some defended Carter, arguing that her passion for the game and competitive drive were what made her a great player. They suggested that her reaction, while perhaps not ideal, was understandable given the stakes. Others, however, felt that Carter needed to learn how to handle such disappointments with more grace and maturity.
What a move, Kennedy Carter!
The WNBA itself did not officially comment on Carter's behavior, but it was clear that the league was closely monitoring the situation. Carter's team, the Atlanta Dream, was also reportedly concerned about the impact her outburst could have on team chemistry moving forward. Carter's reaction to Caitlin Clark's accolades brings up a broader discussion about the pressures faced by young stars in the WNBA. The league is highly competitive, and for players like Carter, who are seen as the future of the league, the expectations can be overwhelming. Every player wants to be recognized for their contributions, and when that recognition doesn't come, it can lead to frustration and disappointment.
For my teammates, and if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me.
The WNBA is also a league where players are constantly compared to one another, and the media plays a significant role in shaping public perception. In this case, Carter may have felt overshadowed by the attention and praise Clark was receiving, which likely contributed to her reaction. It's a reminder that while these athletes may be stars on the court, they are also human and deal with the same emotions and insecurities as anyone else.
Good to get my feet wet, to be back in the WNBA. I think that Saturday I'm going to play with more energy, more tempo, and I'm for sure going to...
While Kennedy Carter was making headlines for her outburst, Caitlin Clark remained focused on her game. When asked about Carter's reaction during an interview, Clark handled the situation with poise and maturity. She expressed her gratitude for the recognition she received and made it clear that she respected all of her peers in the WNBA. Clark's response earned her even more admiration from fans and analysts. Her ability to rise above the drama and remain focused on her goals further solidified her status as one of the league's brightest young stars. For Clark, the accolades were a validation of her hard work, but they didn't define her. Her goal was always to help her team win and to continue growing as a player.
Nice. Boy, Enrique gave it to McCowan, who couldn't finish behind the back.
In the wake of her outburst, Kennedy Carter faces a critical moment in her career. While her talent is undeniable, her behavior has raised questions about her maturity and ability to handle the pressures of professional basketball. Moving forward, Carter will need to focus on improving not only her game, but also her attitude and professionalism. There is no doubt that Carter has the potential to be one of the best players in the WNBA, but she will need to channel her competitive drive in a way that benefits both herself and her team. Learning how to deal with disappointment and how to celebrate the success of others are important lessons for any athlete, and Carter has the opportunity to grow from this experience.
Muscles are way up, the and one.
Carter's reaction also illuminates the way women's sports are covered in the media. While male athletes often receive praise for their passion and competitiveness, female athletes are sometimes criticized more harshly for similar behavior. This double standard can make it even more difficult for players like Carter to navigate the pressures of professional sports. It's important to recognize that the media plays a role in shaping the narrative around these players, and that the narrative can sometimes be unfair or overly critical. While Carter's reaction may not have been ideal, it's worth considering how much of the public backlash was influenced by the way her story was covered.
Just respond, calm down, let your play do the talking. It is what it is. It's a physical game. go make the free throw and then execute on offense.
Caitlin Clark's achievements as the WNBA's Rookie of the Year and her place on the All-WNBA First Team are well-deserved accolades that highlight her immense talent and hard work. Her success, however, sparked a dramatic reaction from Kennedy Carter, whose public display of frustration garnered widespread attention.
Clark over Horston, hits a three!
While Carter's outburst may have been a misstep, it also serves as a reminder of the intense pressure faced by young athletes in the WNBA. As both Clark and Carter continue their careers, the lessons learned from this. In the end, both players are part of the next generation of WNBA stars, and their stories will continue to captivate fans and inspire the next wave of athletes. The Women's National Basketball Association, WNBA, has produced a slew of outstanding players throughout the years, but two stand out in recent memory: Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. Their paths, although different, have often crossed, with each making substantial contributions to women's basketball and the sport's general development. Clark and Mitchell have captivated fans with their on-court talent, and the history they have created together represents the WNBA's developing environment.
Wins all of last season. They're already at 10. Looking to tie last year's winning record.
Clark from way downtown.
Caitlin Clark, a brilliant college basketball player, was making headlines even before she joined the WNBA. Her remarkable ascent has catapulted her into talks with the game's luminaries. Kelsey Mitchell, on the other side, has quickly established herself as one of the WNBA's top scorers after being drafted in 2018. These two players symbolize the league's present and future, and their journeys tell a unique story of grit, ability, and dedication.